The interstate system was meant to have the best possible routing from city to city, using urban planning and engineering to create good routes and interchanges in cities as well as rural areas. As some of us know, this planning process ended up being a bit flawed. In the 50s, 60s, and even 70s, interstates were routed through downtowns and lower income neighborhoods, and massive interchanges were created. At the time, they believed this was the best possible plan, but it's become problematic as some highways divided cities, and some interchanges were either rendered useless or put in terrible locations. One of these terrible locations is in central Pennsylvania, where one awful planning decision resulted in an entirely new community springing into existence. This is the story of Breezewood, Pennsylvania, and how it came to be. Before this video starts though, please consider subscribing to the channel. We make geography content like this every week, so if you want to learn more about cities and highways, click the button below. It really helps me out. Thank you. So Breezewood, Pennsylvania is located in the central part of the state, directly within the Appalachian Mountains. It's pretty much right in between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, which is an important location for freight travel and transportation across the state. But that important geographical location isn't why Breezewood exists. This community exists because of the Breezewood Interchange, which involves the entire history of this location. This brings us back to basically the beginning of cross-country vehicular highways, namely the Lincoln Highway. So the Lincoln Highway has been a quiet topic on this channel, mostly because it isn't a big giant interstate like most of you like learning about. But this highway quite literally paved the way for American transportation. Basically, the highway was thought up by this dude Carl Fisher in 1912. Who convinced planners that highways could be used in the same way as railroads, transporting people across the country. This route was built around 1913 and stretched all the way from Times Square to Lincoln Park, San Francisco, passing directly through present-day Breezewood. Things continue, but while we're talking about history, so let's take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, War Thunder. War Thunder is the best vehicle combat game ever made and is available for free on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. This is a great game for geography and history nerds who can enjoy the beautiful landscapes and intense combat of War Thunder, where incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects place you inside the most powerful machines of our time. There's also over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from 10 major nations, with anything from 1920s biplanes and armored cars to today's fighter jets and main battle tanks. There's even a new mobile version available on iOS and Android that allows you to play the game anywhere you go, and it still has extremely impressive graphics. Personally, I love flying in planes and looking at the landscape below, so if you enjoy the same types of things as me, join their worldwide community of over 70 million players in awesome PvP battles today, and check out the breathtaking experience of War Thunder, with unmatched wealth of high-quality content to discover. Don't forget to play for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile by using my links in the pinned comment or video description. New and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack across PC and console, including multiple premium vehicles and other goodies. Available for a limited time only, so make sure you don't miss it. Clicking the link and downloading War Thunder is just another way to support me, so please check it out. Thank you. So fast forwarding to the 1930s, this already existing design led to the brand new Pennsylvania Turnpike being designed along the same route. This was one of America's first freeways, and this spot, which was empty at the time, was lucky enough to get exit 6. This is big because a lot of the time, exits along highways turn into development. Especially in a rural area like this, people immediately began building along the exit, and thus Breezewood was created, being called the town of motels at the time. So boom, the story's over, right? Well, no, this isn't the interchange I'm talking about, but it highlights the history of the economic importance that Breezewood fulfills. The real story here came in the 1960s with the creation of the interstate system. This interstate system, which was set to create an entire map of limited access highways across the country, made the decision to overlap with the Pennsylvania Turnpike, which is where it's important to understand the strange nature of the Turnpike. So something unique about these toll roads in the US, and especially the Pennsylvania Turnpike, is their trumpet interchange design. This design is seen everywhere on the Turnpike, with a more direct and specific exit onto other roads. This made it easier for them to place toll booths right here, instead of the 4 it would take with a normal diamond interchange. This is the most efficient design for a highway of this nature, and it's seen all over. But it's no secret it can result in some interesting designs, which brings us back to Breezewood. The currently tiny community was placed at the spot where Interstate 70 meets Interstate 76, or the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So planners needed to figure out a way to design this trumpet interchange into the meeting place of these two interstates. They ended up somehow deciding on this. So first they would have I-76 pass by with just one trumpet interchange, which seemed simple enough. But then they got to I-70 and they were like, what should we do with this? And then proceeded to route it directly onto a surface road with a T intersection. They then used the connecting highway here, which had a bit of an interchange to the east of I-70's T intersection. So if you're keeping with me, that means I-70's routing takes drivers to the right and then another right with 0.2 miles on a random surface road. Drivers coming from the other directions would be forced to take a left turn at the T intersection here as well. This is problematic for a few pretty obvious reasons. First, and most importantly, you're not allowed to make interstates surface roads for any amount of time according to interstate standards, and there's a reason for this. They are specifically designed for nonstop, efficient, fast travel. If a truck driver is going from Winchester, Virginia to Pittsburgh, he'll be driving, and suddenly the road will just end and he'll be in a little town, forced to stop at a light multiple times. This can be seen in the traffic patterns. There are constant lines at the lights that end up taking forever to get through, and it shows why you usually don't put interstate traffic onto surface roads. It wasn't meant to hold this amount of vehicles. Now, this interchange has been notorious for a while, but when it was designed, there was one big winner: the commercial developments around this exit. Suddenly, by pure luck, the road was designed so that every single vehicle on that interstate had to drive right past their establishments at 35 miles per hour. So people took advantage of this. New truck stops, gas stations, hotels, and even churches were built in the perfect location right along this short stretch of surface road. There's Chester's Chicken, Sunoco, Pizza Hut, Dunkin', Arby's, and basically everything else. A whole town had popped up out of nowhere, but it's important you don't forget that nobody lived there. There was no residential development, and Breezewood wasn't even a real place. It's just a name with no government behind it, preying on the 5 million vehicles that move through this area every year. I will say, due to this development, the unincorporated community has a population around 700 present day. They now have a functioning post office and an elementary school. Nearly all of these establishments in the community need to run 24/7, and people need to do these jobs. So in my eyes, it's created a very real place. It just has some of the most unique planning, or lack of planning, in the country. Usually, cities will be centered around the downtown district, whether that's big or small. But because of this interchange, the community is centered around one street. So what happens if the highway is totally redirected, bypassing the community that exists purely because of it? Well, that's the current plan. After decades of effort, in February 2025, the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission selected a Chicago-based company to redesign this interchange. This high-profile project would involve reconstructing the entire roadway and allowing vehicles to fully bypass Breezewood if they wish to do so. The company is apparently well known for its public involvement in their projects, which could be very important in a project like this, because there's a massive question here. What happens to Breezewood? Sure, the community is one of the worst examples of American planning, but people own and work at these establishments. A significant number of people will have their lives severely affected by this redesign, so it's a dangerous project to complete unless you get input from the people who reside in the area and may feel the other side of it. I don't think Breezewood will totally go away. It'll still be an important exit with lots of traffic, but they're going to have to work extra hard to stay afloat. Construction is still years off though, so they have to just prepare for now. That's the story of Breezewood, Pennsylvania though. It's just another way that American planning and highway routing can have several different effects that trickle down all the way to each and every person's life. This is a unique situation, but cities across the country get bypassed and lose a lot of their economy. If you don't believe me, just watch Cars. Thanks for watching. That's it for the video, but before you go, make sure to check out today's sponsor, War Thunder, and blow up some tanks. Play the game now for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile using my links in the pinned comment or video description. Those of you that haven't played War Thunder yet or are returning after a break of at least 6 months will receive a massive bonus package of PC and consoles, including premium vehicles, this many silver lions, and 7 days of premium account. Thank you. Thank you to the members this week: Kaziman, Alexander Lichko, Laura Holiday, The Road Dude, Charles Watson, Pete Tedeschi, Hell Gaming 123, Aiden Kyles, Janine Alice, Samnam Woods, Jake Huffs, KG, The Happy Hodag, Reginald Wilkerson, Grant Dickerson, John Haywood, Julius Landry, Philip Monroe, Doug R., David Leavenworth, Midwest Railfan, Andres Quintero, DS, Richard Horwell, Mick Kastner, D, Stephen Phillips, CJ Brick, Big Pasty, Resident Contrarian, Hazev the Wolf, Bunny, Brock Sanders, Stephen Priestman, SB Wilder, Florida Jake, Sir JC17, Alex Williams, Mickey Martinoff, Kurt Ainsley, Jerome McCall, KMS162, J. Allen Rigo, Bryson, Rosebud 4, Darkbird, Wolfing73, Snyder Schwein, Benjamin Whitings, and Ryan Devins.